Han Sol-min stood near the front window of the research vessel Dayan Star. The stars outside looked calm, but he felt a strange heaviness in his chest. He was a veteran explorer, and he had traveled across many regions of the galaxy. He had seen rogue planets, silent nebulae, and drifting ruins left by long-fallen civilizations. But nothing made him feel uneasy like the discovery they made today. For years, explorers from many species shared maps. Even when cultures fought, traded, or argued about borders, one thing was always certain. Maps were shared. Space was too large, too dangerous, and too unpredictable to hide something important. But when Heron, his second-in-command, compared new alien maps with human maps, she noticed something very strange. Every galactic map ended at the borders of human space. Not one map showed anything beyond it. No star clusters, no travel routes, no warnings, no empty areas, nothing. It was as if the galaxy simply stopped where humans lived. Sol-min could not stop thinking about it. There had to be a reason. No species would leave out such a huge part of the galaxy for no reason. Yet none of them ever talked about it. No one warned humans about anything. No one questioned it. It was simply accepted. Heron entered the command deck, holding a tablet close to her chest. Her simple black hair was tied back, and her eyes looked tired from long hours of checking data. She walked up beside Sol-min and spoke in a soft but steady voice. "Captain, I checked again. I looked at maps from the Chiron Union, the Rava Collective, the Lyran clusters, and even those shared by the old Varrock libraries. All stop at our borders. Not one shows what is inside human space, not even the oldest maps." Sol-min frowned. "Not even the ones from civilizations older than us?" Heron shook her head. "Especially those ones. It is almost like the area was avoided long before humans existed." The words made the room feel cold. Sol-min folded his arms and stared outside the window again. If it was danger, there would be warnings. If it was a natural disaster, someone would mention it. But this feels like something else. Before Heron could respond, the communication officer called out, "Captain, we are receiving a signal. Very weak. It is coming from deep inside human territory." Sol-min turned quickly. "Human origin?" The officer shook his head. "Unknown. It does not match human patterns. It is old. Very old. Possibly thousands of years." That made no sense. Humans had not existed thousands of years ago on a galactic scale. They had only reached space recently compared to older species. "Put it on speakers," Sol-min said. The signal played as a soft sequence of tones. They sounded like echoes, hollow and distant, as if they traveled through dust and time. Heron stepped closer to the console and listened with narrowed eyes. "This is not random noise," she said. "There is a pattern. It is repeating, but not in a simple loop. It is layered." Sol-min felt a prickling sensation at the back of his neck. "Can you decode it?" "Maybe," Heron replied. "But it will take time. And, Captain, I think the signal was meant to be found." Sol-min looked at her sharply. "Explain." "The frequency is one that human ships commonly scan. It is as if the signal is calling to us." The idea unsettled him even more. Why would something that old call to humans specifically? Why now? Why from inside a part of space the rest of the galaxy refused to map? Hours passed as Heron and the data team worked. Sol-min tried to focus on other tasks, but his mind kept circling back to the same question. What was hidden in human space, and why did everyone pretend it was normal? When Heron finally returned, her hands were trembling slightly. "Captain, you need to see this." Sol-min followed her to the data room. On the main screen, the decoded signal displayed a map. A very old map. Stars were drawn in faded lines. Many no longer existed in their current form. This map was made long before humans began space travel, Heron said. But look here. She pointed to an area that matched modern human space. But in the ancient map, the space was marked with a symbol, not a warning, not a danger sign, but something else. A spiral shape, drawn with care. What does it mean? Solmine asked. Heron shook her head. I do not know. But there is more. Look at this. She pressed a button, and another layer appeared over the map coordinates. They pulsed faintly. The signal was not a message. It was a guide. And these coordinates lead somewhere inside our territory. Somewhere deep. Somewhere no human has visited. Heron's voice grew quieter. And, Captain, the signal predates humanity. Someone placed these coordinates long before we existed. Solmine stared at the glowing map. His throat felt dry. What ancient species had left this? Why did they choose this place? And why did all alien maps avoid it? Before he could speak, another alert sounded. The communications officer rushed into the room. Captain, we are receiving a private encrypted message. It is from the Terran Assembly. High priority. Solmine felt his stomach tighten. Put it through. The message appeared on the screen. A stern official looked at them with a cold expression. Captain Han Solmine, you are ordered to cease any study regarding alien maps, ancient signals, or unexplained objects inside human space. You are to send all data to the Assembly and delete all local copies. This order is confidential and effective immediately. The message ended sharply. The room fell silent. Heron slowly turned to Solmine. They want us to stop? Solmine breathed out slowly. Yes, which means they know something. Or fear something. Heron looked troubled. Captain, if the Assembly fears it, maybe we should obey. Solmine looked at the coordinates glowing softly on the screen. The old map. The symbol. The repeating signal calling to them. The silence from the rest of the galaxy. Or, he said quietly, maybe the truth is something they cannot face. And someone else wants us to find it. Heron met his eyes. She understood. You want to go there, she whispered. Solmine nodded. Yes. Set a course for the coordinates. Quietly. We will not report this. The crew trusted Solmine, but many whispered among themselves. Why hide this from the Assembly? Why chase a signal that felt older than history? Why enter a region no alien dared map? As the ship changed direction, something unexpected happened. A message appeared on their external sensors. A single line of text dot. It came from a Chiron diplomatic ship nearby. It carried no threat, no official tone. Only fear. Do not go where the stars once screamed. Solmine and Heron shared a silent look. Whatever was waiting deep inside human space, no species wanted to approach it. No one had tried for ages. And now, for reasons unknown, something ancient was calling them. Salman took his seat on the command deck. All engines ahead. Let us find out why the galaxy fears our home. The Dayan star moved deeper into human space, following the ancient coordinates that the signal revealed. Han Solmine sat quietly in his command chair, feeling the soft vibration of the engines beneath his feet. A strange tension filled the air. The crew followed orders, but they all sensed something unusual. They had all seen the message from the Terran Assembly. They knew they were disobeying direct orders. And they knew the galaxy feared the place they were entering. Lee Heron stood beside Solmine, watching the holographic map as the ship approached the first waypoint. Her hands were steady, but her voice held a quiet worry. Captain, we are almost at the first coordinate. It is strange. There are no travel routes here, not even old ones. It feels like empty space, but the star readings say this region should be full. She paused. It is almost as if someone erased the paths. Solmin nodded slowly. A place avoided for thousands of years might not have travel routes. But the question is why? What stopped everyone from coming here? Before Heron could answer, the ship's sensors beeped. The navigation officer studied the readings with wide eyes. Captain, we are detecting a shield. Solmin stood up. A shield? Here? Yes, a faint energy layer. It stretches across a large area, but it is very old. Weak, almost broken. It looks like it has been here longer than human civilization. Solmin exchanged a look with Heron. Can we pass through it? Yes, but carefully. It is fragile. It may react to our engines. Solmin placed a hand on the officer's shoulder. Do it. Slow and steady. The ship moved forward, pushing through the faded shield layer. The lights flickered for a moment, and the engines made a soft humming sound. Then they broke through. Everything went quiet. No alarms. No resistance. Only a silent emptiness. Heron exhaled. We are inside. Solmin looked around, expecting something dramatic, but the stars looked normal. The space ahead looked calm. Except the readings began to shift again. Captain, we have an incoming ship. The sensor officer shouted. Everyone jumped. Alien or human? Solmin asked. Alien, a Chiron diplomatic vessel. The same one that sent us the warning earlier. They are hailing us. Solmin tightened his jaw. Put it on screen. The display lit up with the image of Renaud, the Chiron diplomat. His large dark eyes, typical of his species, were filled with fear. His voice shook slightly. Human captain, please, turn back. You are crossing into a place no one should enter. Solmin stayed calm. You know something. What is this place? Why did your people avoid mapping it? Why do all species avoid it? Renaud lowered his head. Our ancestors shared memories through genetic imprints. Old memories. Memories of things that happened long before oldest cities. Some memories were small. Some were warnings. And one warning was always the same. Do not enter the land of the silent stars. Heron stepped forward. Silent stars? Renaud nodded. A place where a great event happened. A place where a powerful species fell. A place that made the galaxy afraid. We do not know the details. Only the fear remains. Solmin's voice grew more firm. But humans came here. Humans were born here. Renaud's eyes widened. Yes, that is what frightens us more. Humans live in the place we fear most. Yet nothing has happened. And you act as if it is normal. It is. Impossible. Solmin studied him. Do you know who left the signal? The coordinates? Renaud thought for a long moment. No, but the memory says something old once lived here. Something that shaped space. Something that vanished. The galaxy agreed never to return. We avoided it so strongly that even our maps do not show it. Heron felt a chill. If it is so dangerous, why not tell humans? Why let us settle here? Why not warn us? Renaud's expression softened with guilt. Because none of us believed you would survive here long. When humans grew and expanded, we thought, perhaps the danger was gone. Or perhaps you were simply doomed. But then you kept growing, faster, stronger, more confident. And nothing harmed you. So we stayed silent. Solmin's voice hardened. Fear is not an excuse for silence. Renaud bowed his head. I know. That is why I came. To warn you, to ask you to stop before you awaken something that should not be awakened. Solmin felt a cold knot form in his stomach. Awaken what? Renaud shook his head. We do not know. Our memories are broken. But they all say the same thing. This place was the home of a species that vanished in a terrible event. And the warning passed on through generations was simple. If they return, the stars will scream again. The ship's crew exchanged uneasy looks. Heron asked softly, "Do you think the signal we found is connected to them?" Renat stared at her with deep dread. "I fear it is. If you decode more, you may find something the galaxy has avoided for ages. I beg you turn back. Leave this place. Forget the signal." Solmin closed his eyes for a moment. He respected Renat. The Chiron diplomat had shown nothing but honesty and fear. But something in Solmin refused to turn away. The signal was calling humans. Not other species. Humans, and that mattered. "I am grateful for your warning, Renat," Solmin said, keeping his voice gentle. "But I cannot stop. Something ancient is reaching out to us. And we must understand why." Renat's voice cracked. "Then I wish you luck, Captain Han Solmin. May your path be safe. And may the stars remain silent." The transmission ended. The crew felt heavier than before. No one spoke for several seconds. The silence stretched across the command deck. Finally, Heron broke the quiet. "Captain, do you think we should listen to him?" Solmin shook his head slowly. "If humanity lives in this region and has survived without harm, maybe we are connected to whatever happened. Maybe humans are not meant to fear this place. Maybe someone from the past wanted us here." Heron nodded softly, but she still looked troubled. The ship continued toward the next coordinate. The deeper they went, the stranger the star patterns became. Some stars flickered with odd rhythms. Some looked dimmer than they should. Some had orbits that made no logical sense. Sensors showed traces of old structures, dusty, broken, ruined. Foundations of stations long forgotten. Signs of something vast that once lived here. Then the signal returned. It rang through the ship, louder this time. Still soft, but no longer weak. The tones layered over each other, rising and falling like a voice trying to speak. Heron rushed to her station. "Captain, the signal just changed. Someone or something is guiding us closer." Solmin watched the repeating pattern. It looked almost like a heartbeat. How much closer to the final coordinates? He asked, 2 hours at our current speed. Solmin leaned back, letting out a slow breath. "Then prepare the crew. Whatever we find there, it will not be small or simple." The crew nodded and moved quickly, checking systems and preparing for the unknown as the ship headed toward the heart of the old signal. Solmin felt the weight of dozens of alien civilizations behind him, afraid, silent, unwilling to follow. Yet he felt something else too, a sense that humans, without knowing it, were walking into a truth older than the galaxy's fear, and the truth was waiting for them. The Daeon star approached the final coordinates with slow, careful movement. Han Solmin stood in silence as the stars ahead shifted into strange patterns. None of them looked natural. Some glowed with a pale blue light that pulsed like a slow breath. Others seemed frozen in place, as if time moved differently around them. The crew watched with wide eyes, whispering among themselves. No one had ever seen this region of space before. Lee Heron sat at her console, scanning every signal. Her face was calm, but Solmin could see the tension in her shoulders. She kept checking the signal again and again, comparing the tones to the coordinates. The ancient sound grew stronger the closer they came. It almost sounded alive. "Captain," Heron said softly, "we are close. The final point is only a few minutes away. The signal is stabilizing. It is guiding us in." Solmin nodded. "Bring us in slowly. Keep all sensors active." The engines hummed quietly as the ship glided forward. The stars gradually thinned, replaced by a strange dark brightness ahead. It was not a star, not a planet, not a nebula. It looked like a curved wall of light, broken in many places, as if something once large had shattered. The navigation officer spoke with a trembling voice. "Captain, we are detecting a structure. It is massive, too large to measure. Parts of it seem broken. Parts are still active." Solmine stepped closer to the front window. The fractured megastructure revealed itself piece by piece. Giant panels of metal floated in darkness, each one the size of a small moon. Energy lines flickered weakly along the edges. Some panels moved slowly, drifting like tired giants. Others looked frozen in time. Heron stared in awe. This is not something made by any modern species. It is too old, too large, too complex. Solmine felt the same shock. How old? Heron checked her readings. I cannot give an exact number. The material is unlike anything we know, but the decay rate shows it must be millions of years old. Maybe more. The crew fell silent. Millions of years. That meant this place existed long before humans evolved, long before many civilizations were even born. The signal suddenly changed again, shifting to a new pattern of tones. A map appeared on Heron's screen, showing a path through the broken structure. It is leading us inside. Heron whispered. So Eleven took a long breath. Follow the path. No sudden moves. The ship entered the broken megastructure. Darkness wrapped around them, but faint lights flickered along old corridors, as if welcoming them. The structure felt both dead and alive. Every sound echoed strangely. The metal walls looked ancient but strong, covered in dust-like particles floating gently in the airless space. The deeper they went, the stronger the signal became. It no longer sounded like a voice from far away. Now it sounded like something speaking directly to them. Heron's eyes widened as new symbols appeared on her screen. Captain. These symbols matched the spiral symbol on the ancient map. This must be connected to the species that lived here. Solmine nodded. Do we know anything about them yet? No, Heron said, but something is strange. The symbols look simple, almost like they were made so that any intelligent species could understand them. Maybe it was meant for us. They reached the center of the megastructure. The ship slowed to a stop before a large circular chamber. The walls formed a perfect sphere, glowing with a soft, white light. In the center floated a small device shaped like a spiral, the same symbol they had seen on the ancient map. Open a visual channel, Solmine ordered. The screen displayed a close view of the floating device. It slowly rotated, emitting gentle waves of light. The signal tones matched its movement perfectly. Heron stared at the device with fascination. Captain, this device is producing the signal. It is the source. It looks like it has been active for millions of years. Solmine felt his heart beat faster. Can we scan it? Yes, but carefully. It is delicate. Heron began scanning the device. As she did, the signal changed again. The tones grew smoother, forming patterns that almost sounded like speech. Then, the lights inside the chamber dimmed and brightened in a rhythm. Suddenly, an image appeared on Heron's screen. A tall figure, humanoid, with long limbs and calm eyes. Its hair floated around its head like strands of glowing silver. It wore simple clothing. Its expression was gentle. The crew gasped. The figure looked almost human. Harin spoke in a trembling voice. Captain, this is a recording. An old hologram. The figure began to speak, but no sound came from its mouth. Instead, the tones of the signal translated its speech. Children of the new dawn, the voice said through the signal. If you see this, then we are gone. Our time has ended. We were the first dawn. We shaped the early stars. We built this place as our sanctuary. But we fell before the darkness. Solman's breath caught. Humans looked like them almost exactly. Heren listened closely, eyes wide. The hologram continued. We did not expect new life to rise in our home. Yet you came. You grew. You filled the silent stars. You remind us of what we once were. That is why we left this message, this memory. Heren whispered. It is true. Humans resemble them. But these beings lived millions of years ago. Did they create us? The hologram spoke again. We did not create your bodies. Your world was young, untouched. But we touched your sky. We shaped the energy around the stars. We changed the path of your world long before life grew. We hoped that someday new beings would rise here. Beings who could stand where we fell. Solmin felt a weight in his chest. We are their inheritors, he murmured. The hologram's voice grew softer. If you found this place, then our final fear may still live. A darkness that destroyed us may return. But we left a gift. Not a weapon. Not a warning. A memory. Learn from our mistakes. Do not repeat our fall. The hologram flickered. We believe that when the stars call again, our children will answer with strength, not fear. Then the image faded, leaving only the floating spiral device behind. The crew sat in stunned silence. Heren spoke first. Captain, this means humans were shaped by their presence. We were not created by them, but we grew because they guided the space around us. We evolved in the place they prepared. Solmin nodded slowly. And the rest of the galaxy fears this place, because they remember the fall of the first dawn. They fear anything connected to them, including us. Heren looked around the glowing chamber. But why send the signal now? What changed? Why call us here? Solmin stared at the spiral device. Maybe something is happening. Or maybe they knew that we would one day reach this place. Maybe this was always meant to happen. The chamber lights dimmed slightly, responding to the fading signal. The structure around them felt ancient, tired, but peaceful. Then a new alert appeared on the screens. Captain, we are detecting movement outside the structure. Multiple ships. The sensor officer shouted. Solmin turned sharply. Human ships? No, alien. Many species. Chiron, Lyran, Rava. They followed us. They are afraid of what we found. Heren's voice trembled. Captain, they might destroy the structure. They might destroy us to stop the truth from spreading. Solmin stood tall. Then we must protect this truth. The first dawn left this for us, and we will not let fear erase it. The lights of the chamber flickered again. As if agreeing, Solmin felt the weight of a forgotten legacy settle on his shoulders. The galaxy was coming, and humans were no longer simple newcomers. They were heirs to something ancient. The Dahan star drifted in the center of the ancient chamber, surrounded by the glowing walls of the broken megastructure. Han Solmin kept his eyes fixed on the sensor display as dozens of alien ships appeared outside the structure. Their engines formed bright lights in the darkness, surrounding the area like a warning that something was about to begin. Lee Heren stood beside him, gripping her tablet with tense fingers. She watched the readings with worry on her face. Captain, the Chiron ship is powering up its weapons. The Rava ships too. I think they want to destroy this place before we leave it. Solmin felt a tightness in his chest. They fear what we found. They fear the first dawn. They fear us now that they know humans rose in this place. Heren swallowed hard. Captain, maybe they believe destroying the structure will stop whatever they fear from returning. Solmin thought for a long moment. The ancient hologram, the gentle figure of the first dawn, replayed in his mind. Its calm voice, its final message, its hope. They fear the past, Solmin said softly, But we had seen the truth. The First Dawn were not monsters. They were not tyrants. They were not a threat. He looked at the glowing spiral device floating in the chamber. They wanted peace. They wanted someone to rise after them. They hoped we wouldn't repeat their mistakes. Heron nodded. But how do we convince the others? They came ready to destroy whatever we found. Before Solmin could answer, the communicator beeped. The voice of Renat, the Chiron diplomat, filled the room. His tone was tense and frightened. Human captain, we must act quickly. The Rava commander demands that we fire on the structure immediately. The Lyran fleet is preparing to assist. They believe this place must be erased before another disaster begins. Solmin answered with a calm but firm voice. Renat, listen. We found the truth. The First Dawn did not create a weapon. They left a memory, a message of peace. If we destroy this place, we destroy knowledge that could help the whole galaxy. Renat hesitated. Solmin could see his fear in his eyes. You do not understand, Captain Han. Our ancient fear is deep. Even I struggle to stand here without trembling. The memory of the silent stars is not a story. It is part of what we are. Solmin softened his voice. Then let me show you something. He nodded to Heron. Heron activated the recording. The hologram of the First Dawn figure appeared, floating in the command deck of the Dion star. Light shimmered across its form. The alien fleets outside received the transmission as well. The figure repeated its message, speaking of peace, hope, and the wish for new beings to grow strong where the First Dawn once fell. When the hologram ended, silence followed. Renat did not speak for nearly a minute. When he finally did, his voice sounded changed, softer, uncertain. This does not match the ancient fear. This being does not look like a destroyer. They sound kind. They sound gentle. But why did our oldest memories warn us to avoid this place? Why did they fear the First Dawn? Solmin sighed. Because something terrible happened here. Something that destroyed the First Dawn. Not because they were evil, but because they faced something they could not defeat. And the galaxy remembered the fear, not the truth. He turned to the screen. Renat, we must not repeat that fear. We must learn from it. But before Renat could answer, an alarm rang through the ship. Captain, the sensor officer shouted. The Rava commander has launched a charged plasma torpedo at the megastructure. Heron's face went pale. If that hits, this entire chamber will collapse. The whole structure might fall apart. Solmin rushed to his seat. Prepare shields. Move us between the torpedo and the chamber. The crew looked shocked. Captain, if we intercept it, we'll take the full impact. The helmsman cried. Then we take it, Solmin said firmly. We cannot let them destroy this place. The Dion star moved forward, placing itself directly in the path of the glowing torpedo. The bright blue light of the weapon grew closer and closer. The crew braced themselves. The torpedo struck the shields with a deafening blast. The entire ship shook violently. Lights flickered. Sparks flew from several panels. Heron grabbed the railing to keep from falling. Shields at 50%. Someone shouted, "Hold position." Solmin ordered. Outside, the alien fleets watched in shock as the human ship shielded the ancient structure with its own hull. Renat's face appeared again on the screen, eyes wide. Captain Han, why would you risk your ship for this? Why protect something the galaxy has feared for so long? Solmin stepped close to the screen, his voice steady but full of emotion. Because the First Dawn trusted us. Because they left this message for someone like us. Because destroying the past out of fear only leads to more fear. And humanity will not live in fear. The Chiron diplomat stared at him for a long moment. Then he closed his eyes and breathed deeply. I I believe you. I believe what you found. And I believe what we feared was only half of the truth. Renat turned to his own crew. Order all Chiron ships to stand down. Lower weapons. Do not attack the structure. Heron let out a shaky breath. One ally, she whispered. That is something. But the other fleets still held their weapons ready. Solmi knew the Rava commander would not be convinced so easily. That species valued strength and survival above all else. To them, fear was not weakness. It was instinct. The communicator beeped again. This time, the face of the Rava commander filled the screen, stern and cold. Human captain, the commander said, your actions show courage. But courage cannot erase danger. That structure holds secrets too old and too powerful. We will destroy it before any threat returns. Move your ship, or we will fire again. Solmin looked him in the eyes. If you fire again, we will stand in the way. Every time. The Rava commander looked angry. You would risk your people for a dead civilization? Solmin shook his head. No, I risk everything for the truth. And for the future. The First Dawn are gone, but their message is not a threat. It is guidance. If we destroy it, we blind ourselves. The Rava commander growled. Your words are soft. The galaxy has no place for softness. Heron stepped forward. You fear repeating their fall. But do you know what destroyed them? Do you know what danger they faced? If we destroy this structure, we lose the chance to learn. We lose the chance to defend ourselves if that same danger returns. The commander paused. For the first time, he looked uncertain. Renat's face appeared beside him on the screen. Commander, I have seen the human recording. It is not a threat. It is hope. The humans protected it with their ship. That is not the action of a species with dark intentions. The two alien leaders stared at one another. Slowly, reluctantly, the Rava commander lowered his weapon systems. We will not fire, he said. But we want the structure sealed, locked, never opened again. Solmin nodded. We will seal it for now. The message has been received. We do not need to disturb anything further. The alien fleets backed away slightly. The tension eased, though not completely. Heron spoke quietly. Captain, if we seal the structure, can we still study what we learned? Can we share it with the galaxy? Solmin looked at the spiral device, still glowing softly in the chamber. Yes, the message lives in us now. The structure does not need to stay open. He gave the order. The Daon star released a gentle burst of energy that triggered the structure's dormant systems. The great panels slowly closed, locking the chamber behind ancient metal doors. The lights dimmed. The signal faded. The past returned to sleep dot as the Daon star backed away. Solmin felt both relief and sadness. The truth was safe. A new weight had been placed on humanity. They were no longer just explorers. They carried the legacy of the First Dawn, and the galaxy had begun to see them in a new light, one of fear and hope mixed together. Han Solmin stood on the bridge of the Daon star as it moved through the quiet stretch of space, leading back toward human territory. The ship flew at steady speed, but the atmosphere held a strange tension. Everyone on board felt it, even if no one spoke about it. They had gone to the Forbidden's place, uncovered truths older than all known civilizations, and returned alive. That alone was more than anyone expected. Lee Heron sat beside him, reading through the long report she had prepared. She looked tired, but focused. Her eyes moved across lines of text again and again, as if she wanted to be perfectly sure every word was correct before it went to the Terran assembly. She knew how important it was. She also knew that one wrong phrase could cause fear or even panic. Renat and the Chiron fleet followed from a safe distance. Their ships kept formation, but did not draw too close. They had agreed not to attack the megastructure and not to silence the truth, but trust was still thin. Renat made it clear that his people would watch humanity very carefully from now on. They believed the First Dawn had chosen humans for something important, and that frightened them. Selmine watched the great alien ships on the screen. They were shaped like long crystals with soft glowing lines running across their sides. They looked beautiful and dangerous. He felt a small chill, but also a strange sense of responsibility. Humanity had been walking in the dark, unaware of what lay behind them or beneath their feet. Now they knew. The knowledge felt heavy, like a burden placed into their hands. Heron finally lowered her tablet and rubbed her eyes. "I think it is ready," she said softly. "The report is simple, clear, honest. I kept the language basic so the public will understand it easily. No strong terms, no dramatic words, just facts." She took a small breath. "I hope they accept it." Selmine nodded. "They will read it. They may not like it, but they will read it." She looked at him with quiet worry. What if they fear it? What if they think humanity is some kind of mistake made by ancient beings? Or what if they think we are meant for war? "Then we must teach them," Selmine replied. "We must show them what the First Dawn hoped for. They wanted peace. They wanted a species that could stand strong, yes, but not to destroy. To protect, to learn, to grow. That is what we must be." Heron gave a slow smile. It was tired, but real. "You always make it sound simple." Selmine sighed. "It is not simple, but it is something we can walk toward, step by step." The Dion star soon passed the border of human-controlled space. A quiet ripple moved through everyone on board. For the Karen ships following behind, the reaction was even stronger. Their formations shifted. Some ships slowed. Others kept their distance. It was clear that crossing into human space made them uneasy, as if the region itself carried an ancient warning. Renat appeared on the main screen again. His pale blue eyes looked steady, but Selmine sensed the tension behind them. "Your territory feels strange," Renat said. "It is as if the stars themselves hold a memory that my people cannot ignore." Selmine bowed his head slightly. "We understand, but we also hope this fear can fade. Humans have lived here for centuries without needing others to fear them." Renat gave a slow nod. "Perhaps. We will watch, but we will also listen. And if your report brings calm rather than fear, then maybe this part of the galaxy will change." His eyes softened. "I wish for that." When the connection ended, Heron let out a long breath. "Do you believe him?" "Renat is many things," Selmine answered. "Cautious, serious, and deeply loyal to his people. But he is also honest. If he says he wishes for peace, he means it." Hours passed as the ship continued toward Earth. Crew members worked quietly at their stations. Some whispered to each other, trying to understand the meaning of what they had seen. Others stayed silent, lost in thought. No one on the Dion star felt the same as before. They had stepped into a place where ancient memories still lived. They had seen the faces of the First Dawn, beings who looked almost human, but not quite. They had learned that humanity was not entirely shaped by chance. When the ship finally arrived at the Terran assembly station orbiting Earth, small vessels guided them in. As they docked, Selmine could see groups of officials waiting behind the glass panels. They looked serious and curious, and maybe a little afraid. Heron prepared the data, packet containing her report and the recorded evidence. She held it carefully, noticing her hands trembling just a little. "I guess this is it," she said. Selmine placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "Whatever happens, you did good work. You helped uncover the truth. That matters." They walked together into the meeting hall where assembly leaders waited. Heron presented the report with calm and respect. The officials listened closely. Some frowned. Some looked shocked. Others stayed still, trying to absorb every detail. Heron spoke slowly in simple words. She explained the megastructure, the first dawn, the strange fear carried by alien species, the message left behind, the fact that humanity had been shaped with purpose, but not with force. The first dawn wanted hope, not conquest. There was a long silence after she finished. The assembly members exchanged looks. Finally, the eldest among them spoke. "We will study this carefully, but we see no reason to hide it from our people. The galaxy will know the truth, and we will move forward with steady steps." Solmine and Heron bowed and left the hall. They returned to the Dayon Star, where the crew waited eagerly for news. "They accepted it," Solmine said. "The truth will be shared." A warm wave of relief filled the room. People smiled, hugged, and laughed quietly. The heavy fear that had followed them seemed to lift, replaced by a gentle hope. Days later, every major galactic map was updated. For the first time in countless ages, the border around human space was removed. Instead of a blank area marked by warnings or silence, the maps now showed stars, planets, and human colonies. And instead of fear, the update carried a message of unity. Harin watched one of the new maps displayed on a public screen. She touched the glowing region labeled human territory and smiled. "It looks normal now," she said. "It looks like we belong there." Solmine nodded. "We always did. The galaxy just forgot it for a long time." But as they walked away, the ghost signal returned. Soft at first, then louder, clearer. It echoed through the communication systems with a calm rhythm, as if calling to them. Harin froze. "It's back." Solmine listened carefully. The sound was not a warning, not a threat. It felt like a message waiting to be understood. The first dawn said their children would awaken when the stars called them home. Heron whispered. Solmine looked into the deep dark sky beyond the station windows. "Then maybe this is only the beginning," he said. The signal pulsed again, gentle but powerful, and humanity listened.